One of the most important books on the origins of money was written in 1888 by a German anthropologist, Heinrich Schurz. And he, according to the book, The Origins of Money, and he was looking at indigenous communities in the French possessions in the South Pacific and in Africa. And he saw, how did money really develop there? Well, it wasn't really money. What was property? And he found that what was called primitive money, which wasn't the money of Mesopotamia, but were really valued objects that were always imported. And he said the way to get status in all of these communities was by foreign trade. And you would get foreign exotic materials, not silver and gold. It could be jewels, it could be shells, it could be anything that was sort of exotic, or you'd have trophies of one sort, like some item of dress or furniture that was owned by a wealthy chieftain's family would be valued. And so this was these items of prestige would become the money. Well, in a way, something like that happened in Mesopotamia when you had, alongside grain for money, you had silver. The gold didn't pay much of a role. It was silver that was valued because Mesopotamia had to trade in order to get raw materials, copper, tin that made the bronze into the Bronze Age, stone, hardwood. They had to get all of those and gems. That was the root of obtaining money. Money was always basically something foreign, and for most countries, silver and gold. In our era is foreign. That's why India was called the sink of gold. The Indians wanted, in antiquity, down to the Middle Ages, all the gold was taken in India. In the 19th century, China and Japan wanted silver for everything. You had a drawing in for that. And you had this anthropologist, Schurz, describing all of this. Well, I'd written they asked me to write the introduction to the translation of this book. And so I got the translation about a week ago. And yesterday, I spent, they sent me the publisher's proofs, and they'd sent me the draft translation before, and I'd quoted all of what Schurz wrote about all of this. And I found when they sent it to me that they'd changed almost every paragraph of the translation. They'd changed the word. Instead of, they would use property instead of something else. They said, well, we can't say government because there wasn't a government in indigenous communities. They really wanted to get the anthropological translation right. So it took me 4 hours just to fix up the translations in my version and go into this. But what Schurz found was this influx of primitive money, meaning items of status that were highly valued and therefore used as prestige, were the root of polarization of these societies. And he said the role of money is to polarize these indigenous communities, and the role of the chieftain was something that was done by the Mesopotamian rulers. The role of the chieftain was to prevent the economy from polarizing, because if you end up letting it polarize, then you end up looking like Argentina, where you have 1% of the population holding all of the government debt and a dollar debt in its own hands. They hold a dollar debt, but offshore in offshore banking centers, and you have the wealthy 1% impoverishing the rest of the society. Well, that happened in indigenous communities already that were having contact with the West in the 19th century. That's certainly what happened in classical antiquity, and it's certainly happening today. It's the foreign debt that was basically impoverishing a community because the money was foreign. The debt was in a foreign money that they had. And you had this, again, this constant of civilization. The tendency of economies to polarize always weakened the economy as a whole because it put the obligation to pay debt to creditors over and above the attempt by an economy to grow and expand by raising living standards and tangible capital formation. Clarifying that translation from today you'd say it was an awkward German of the 19th century. It's just something that I'm still doing, even in modern, a century-old German today, compared to Mesopotamia.